We're going to set the mood. The director of photography is in charge of camera, lighting, camera movement, anything associated with that, and the look of the film and the feel and the mood.
The director of photography is responsible for the lighting of a scene. Like, for instance, here we are filming me, and like this would be bad lighting, and this would be better lighting. So director of photography is responsible for making the lighting look good. It's probably more on the shoulders of a director of photography in a series than on a director. Director of photography has to make the actors look good. He has to help the director tell the story. He has to serve the story. In our shows, we have like a stable of directors that we see a lot of. But you look at a lot of other shows, they get, every week, you get a different person. So you could potentially have 20 different people coming in with their harebrained, wild-ass ideas, but the director of photography is your anchor. He has to make it all look recognizable. This is this show. And if you look, many shows as you flip through on the TV, you can go, oh yeah, I like the look of this. Well, the look of it is the responsibility of the director of photography.
The closer you can work with the director, the better, because it's ultimately, I say, I want to give them their vision. Peter DeLuise will say, I have no vision.
Now there's the light, and your door's not blocking the light.
Genius. After 10 years, he's learned to be nice to the director of photography. Now their vision is also made up of 100 other people's hard work, as is mine. We're the final line of defense. The art department, the writers, every set construction, hair, makeup, wardrobe. We can take all that and make it or break it. We create an hour every 7 days. It has to be written. Without that, you go nowhere. Once that's done, then the art department will get a hold of it and they'll conceptualize and make drawings. Well, here we are in the DOP office, the director of photography. In here, we come from the art department with our little packages that show us a roadmap to someone's vision. Here's the Ori chair from the Ori ship, a courtyard. A lot of times the computer lighting is not achievable, but as the thing evolves, we can see it built and start planning the spaces. Over on this set, we can have a look at what a set can look like before we get a hold of it. Imagine, if you will, we get a hold of a set. It looks kind of like this. Kind of flat, kind of dumb, kind of silly. This is a giant hangar opening up all that direction there. And in the roof, there's a big hole where the sun and light and an Alkesh can come down into this hangar. It's huge out there. Okay, then this is what we make it look like.
Never thought you'd show your face in these parts again?
Bosun, you slimy two-faced grease peddler.
I like to take the art drawings and try to end up with a frame that I can hold up next to it, because James is an incredible artist. In here, James Robbins, master illustrator. From the script, you're the next guy that gets a hold of it and shows us how to set the mood.
Theoretically, yes.
Okay, family ties.
Family ties.
What did you prepare for us? Can we use that sky outside the ship?
This is a shot actually off my balcony. So that one wound up being outside the cargo ship, and then these two images were used as views out of the window in J6's apartment.
Projecting the scene outside. It became sky because they didn't want to commit to the building exterior. If I had a projected buildings, then it might not have matched the exterior, so it became sky.
Darn it, I'm working on it. And I just wish Vala could see that. That's where you guys come in.
J6 apartment, top view, which we don't normally get, and it shows us where the windows are going to be, and we can plan for things. If he's not going to see everything, then we don't have to light it. They don't have to finish it. In this case, they never finished the back walls here, anywhere. All the other backing flats were unfinished. Even exterior, we'll get an overhead view of even where the trucks are going to park, where the generators can be, and every single place has been measured and marked, and they in advance know where they're going to put all the different scenes. Knowing what you're getting into on any location or any set is key. The final tech survey is the last walk around before you start shooting. You have 1 or 2 days till things happen. Those are all the technicians. Everybody's learning their job, seeing where we're going to shoot and what they have to bring to make it all happen.
Ship clearing, this is where Teal gets stunned, and we'll shoot the other cargo ship clearing wherever the sun dictates that we should do it. So what we do is just break the angle and get a new background, and it'll be the other cargo ship.
By that point, you catch small things that have been missed, but your initial location surveys actually help you the most so that things don't get built in the wrong place. But the sun's coming from over there.
Yeah, but it's banking off of a reflection of a building across the street.
2 suns. Even though it's a 1-minute scene that a page takes a minute, it might take several hours or a day to shoot it. So you have to deal with stuff, changing light conditions, running out of light. So in advance, you got to think, okay, am I going to get this done?
Let's say on the day, it's now raining, something's different, we got there too late for the sun, the director of photography is fast on his feet, or maybe has even pre-thought that that might happen, then those kind of changes can happen quickly.
You just have to watch for everything that will kill you, because the whole world conspires to kill a film set on a permanent basis. So here in this area near a picnic table, we're going to do J6 video transmission.
Right here, yeah, I got a piece of gate like this, right? It tickled into the corner of the frame, so the interactive's coming from there, hitting them across the face, and I'll put the DHD on that little flat spot there.
It's $15,000 to take the real Stargate onto a set and set it up. We have a portion of the gate. So we took a 8-foot piece of Stargate that we can travel with, the DHD, set it up so that you see a piece of the gate, the DHD, JSIC, and some interactive light. And then, because he's filming with his own video camera and transmitting to the SGC, we capture that, and then VFX playback people format it to look like a transmission, and then we rephotograph it in the SGC. Everything's laid out. The ADs break the script down and do a 1-line schedule, or whatever department needs to bring extra stuff. So the script gives us all the locations, all these exteriors you have to deal with on the day. Most of these are pre-lit sets. In the early years, they tried to make, how do you make one floor, 28 floors of the base? So they came up with these louvers and put different colors in each floor to sort of color code the different floors. And the true fans know which color to go to which floor. Ah, you learn something new every day. This is the Odyssey, Daedalus, Prometheus. What else? It's the bridge, but we need some lights before you see any more. We can put stars out there or green screen and put whatever we want, any planet, anything. Lots of stuff happens here, usually big battle scenes. That map. If the color's different and the backlights are different in here, then it's a different ship. Okay, let's do the halls. This was originally built as the Prometheus, an Earth ship that could have starship capabilities. And most of our sets used to get built and get torn down, but it became other ships, and it's also used on Stargate Atlantis. That's Lou, Steadicam extraordinaire. Clear the steady. There it is. It's really heavy, and he has to carry it. How much does it weigh?
About 79 pounds. The weight of a 12-year-old kid.
Every single light bulb is remote controlled. There's little numbers on each light, so you don't see them on camera. So we can dim any light, so when explosions start to happen, things start to happen, we can flicker certain parts, do whatever we want, every single light. But this show allows us to do pretty big things, and when you go out and work on some of the lower budget things around, then you realize how spoiled we can be. The entire base is wired into this central control system, all computer driven. Every single fluorescent in the boardroom upstairs has been remote wired to here. We have 9 standing sound stages, incredible amount of lighting and equipment available. In here, every single light in this entire facility is run into here, all on dimmers, which are controlled by that computer there. it took a while to evolve into this. You can't just take a show and add this kind of infrastructure if you're only going to run for one season. But most shows don't go this long. We've got some big sets. One set with the village, which you will see 2 million watts of light in the roof, which is unheard of for a single series to do. But because we're shooting 2 series, we can get a little bit bigger. In order to be able to run this with a board, massive amounts of cable is run to all the different lights. It's very expensive. Yeah, there is a bit of an illusion that we're always waiting for lighting on set. There's 100 different people divided into many different departments that have to come together at once to get every single shot. On set, I work with the gaffer, who's the head of the lighting department, and the key grip. This is the gaffer. He looks into the lights so I don't have to. This is the key grip.
Oh, hi.
He puts the light in, he takes light away. It's the removal of light, the control of it, light where you want it, light doing what you want it to do. Because if it's just a light, it's all over the place, it's ugly. So the grips come in and shape the light with nets and flags and toppers and siders and scrims, Charlie bars and dots and everything. You saw it a second ago, right? It was just a bunch of light hitting the wall. Now we got a topper. And what we're going to do here is we want to keep this light, but it's too bright. So they're going to go up there with what we call a double net. It's a U-shaped frame with material in it that is calibrated to one stop. And one stop is half the amount of light. Really what you get paid for is the shadow.
That's what I do.
He's going to create some now. Go
Oh,
top
crap.
that light. So, you know, most lighting in the real world, other than lights in your living room, which are down at a nice level, are generally too high. Anything in the ceiling is going to come down on you and create shadows in your eyes and shadows under your nose and shadows that just generally drag your whole look down. The worst thing in here, though, is top light. You get light coming straight down through the trees, and it just takes all the pieces of your face and drags them down like that. What we do is we redirect with an 18,000 watt light and give them some light in their faces, and that'll smooth out the wrinkles and the bags under the eyes being here at 7 in the morning. You just have to kind of make that look natural if you can. People don't notice as long as the talent looks good, but you notice if they look really bad. It gets pretty distracting if you're looking at something that's dramatic but not necessarily complimentary. So the trade-off is getting a dramatic picture but making the actors look good as well. We tend to do a lot of dialogue on our show, so there's a lot of time people are sitting in close-ups. So you have to create your lighting that will work wide, but you can fix it so that it'll match in a close-up. Well, the challenge to this one, there's going to be 3 cameras hosing down some action from all points. So we just have to maintain a little bit of light into their faces. So we'll just move our big bounce back that way, get it up in the air, and just get a little sparkle in their eyes and let it happen. If they're moving fast and wide, you can get away with set lighting and broad strokes. But as soon as you get in close on them, you have to get cosmetic. Usually the most tricky part of lighting is hiding the light. So you have to see if there's places in the ceiling or in the walls or practicals. I prefer to use practical light and then enhance it with our movie lights. Somebody sitting at a desk, a piece of paper, they hold a piece of paper and that keys their face. We'll bring up some fill. To fill it brings the ratio of dark to light within the parameters of the capabilities of the cameras. Originally, Stargate shot 16mm film. We switched in year 3 or 4 to 35mm film.
When we made the switch to HD, there's a whole new learning curve. And kudos for Jim to be able to just jump on that and pick that up and go. Because I know for myself as an operator, I wanted nothing to do with that HD world. And okay, my assistant can learn all the buttons. I don't want to know anything.
Early HD cameras the actors were freaked out because they were worried they were too sharp. Add a little filtration in, a little light control, and the quality is really good. I like them both. I like saying I specialize in capture. I don't care what I capture it on. I have a high-speed camera, which in 16 millimeter, I started out making ski films, so I had a military establishment in the U.S. build me a camera that shoots 500 frames per second. The pyramid that blows up in full circle, that shot on my camera actually. So the faster you can go, the bigger it will look. So 500 frames a second is what we did there. And it was only about 8 feet away from the actual explosion. So that was lots of fun. Exteriors are much easier to shoot on film. Film has a much greater latitude than HD recording capabilities currently. Here on Earth, the challenge is for HD. Dappley light. Follow me, watch this. As they walk from here to here, it gets bright. HD, the hardest place to use it is exterior, right, Ken?
Yes, absolutely, yes. Because our stop range is much less than film.
Currently.
Currently.
Too much contrast is not your friend. When the camera physically can't handle the latitude, if you get too contrasty, the image is gone. You know, all the hard work of people there in wardrobe and costumes and explosions, it's gone if it's not captured on the tape. So. Interior, there's some things HD can do that's actually better than film. And controlled lighting situations, it can look very nice. This is a Pentax spot meter. Since we've gone to HD, it's an invaluable tool because HD is a video and a video signal, and you work on a scope. While Pentax, for some reason, has a scale built into here, which matches up completely. If you look here, this is what it's referring to. This is 0 to 100%.
There's 5 stops of range from 0 to 100. Your hot spots will be up in the 80 to 100 range, and your faces will be down in the 30 to 40 range.
I can, without going back to the monitors all the time, I can see the range that I can work within with the lights. Our look or requirements are more planetary, like we go to different planets, we go to different places, and a lot of times they are the exact same forest. On an alien planet later, we're going to do some video things, HD things. They don't like calling it video. So they're going to put smoke tubes all the way around this place. We're going to put some smoke and mist in the trees, and then make it blue and bring the gammas up, and it'll be different. With HD, we actually have a colorist on set. Let's ask Ken what that circle does.
That's called a vector scope, and it's all about the colors that are showing up in every shot we do. It's a good way to match our skin tones. If you have 2 cameras that are shooting the same thing, we can match skin tones by matching them right on that color wheel.
As soon as technology gives you a new way to film something, it's worth trying. We can play with different parameters and inputs on the actual HD cameras that allow us to create a different look right there on, and you know it's going to be carried on. Camera angles can make a person bigger than life. If you lower the camera a little bit, you're looking up at them, you're making them more powerful, they're more dominant. Conversely, if you get high and look down on somebody, maybe use a wider lens, you can make them submissive and dominate them in the frame. A shutter allows the amount of time to expose a piece of film. The higher your shutter speed, the more you freeze action. You freeze every frame and you sharpen it up more. There's no motion blur. By sharpening the shot, you get that by running the camera fast, the shutter speed goes up. So you've got a very short exposure time. We use it in Camelot when Ben is fighting the knight out in the courtyard. It's very muddy. Sharpens every little piece of dirt that kicks up. And you'll see it in that fight. Will had to do a episode 2, and they're caught in a time dilation. How do you visualize that? In film, what we would do is shoot 6 frames a second, which gives you a long shutter speed, which means the image actually blurs on every frame.
And we used a smaller camera that had a 1/6 of a second look to it that you could just push a couple buttons in and get to. And when you cut to that footage, you see that everything has a smear to it.
So what you've got is a regular speed thing, a little bit choppy and jerky, but nicely streaked in between. With the new HD cameras being electronic, they can actually function with no shutter whatsoever because it's an electronic grab of the amount of light it requires. So for instance, when you're shooting guns with no shutter, you'll get every single flash. And sometimes we'll do scenes that are, the lighting is completely from the flash of the gun. The moment you've all been waiting for. We're going to show you how to do a puddle passer. It's year 10. Okay, we're going to give it away. A green screen is a way for us to film foreground elements that will have computer-generated backgrounds added at a later time. And the reason we use a green screen is so that we can key the people, much like the news on TV, only better. It costs us way more money. Over the years, we've developed some great little time-saving devices. Behind the ring, we're setting up lights to bounce into there to give us the puddle effect through the horizon. Something that's a holdover actually from the original feature. There's Mylars. We hit those with an HMI light, which is like a daylight colored light, and we shake them, and that gives the puddle effect. In the first years, we'd have to have paddles of wood in front of all the lights, and on cue, several grips would have to unpaddle or paddle the lights whenever the light had to go out. Now we've got up in the grid, way up there, called D'Artagnans. They're all DMX controlled, so our board operator can just close them on cue. It's the secret to the puddle, don't tell anyone. These tricks of the camera draw something bigger than life, because we want to create stories that are bigger than life, not just everyday events. The beauty of science fiction is there's unlimited stories. Death and destruction, lightning machines, bombs, all kinds of stuff's gonna happen. Stick around and watch.
God, must you hit every single one?
Were you here for some of that action? That's setting the mood. I love it when because we don't often get to go out and shoot real life, but that's actually a real treat now. But if you did it all the time, it would be much more boring than science fiction. Shoot day. 10 extras. Small room. It's very warm in here right now. We have all this stuff in trucks full of 50, 60-foot trucks full of script and lighting and camera and all that stuff. So we have to use it or they won't let us have it anymore. Greg Fox. Hi. Camera operator. What do you do?
For the camera. Do I look spooky?